So as you can see, Mrs. Pussycat is relaxing. She's looking at me now. She's been in about half an hour, so I imagine that she's been busy overnight. She normally is. I think she slowed down a few weeks back because it got cold, but it's quite mild at the moment, so she's back out being a cat. And I can see Ida looking in, waiting for me to go down and open up the chickens. It's 10 to 9 in the morning. I will go down in a minute. I'll just do this first. I was really disappointed to come back last night after going and looking for the Aurora Borealis. I came back and my Facebook feed was full of photos from my friends, all who'd got a good view, mostly in the UK, but a friend 3 hours south of here, I can't remember the name of the town now, but 3 hours south of here with a view. And it looks like it was really very distinctive. I think last time, earlier on this year, it wasn't so obvious to people. I think people had come in, taken photos and come in. It wasn't until they looked at the photos they realised that they had taken photos of it. I know that sounds a bit weird, but it's like it wasn't as obvious until they looked at the photos that they'd taken, but it was very distinct last night. So I was really disappointed, and I sort of think if we'd stayed longer, if we'd gone a bit later, would that have worked? But I hadn't got any directions apart from at nightfall, or I don't know whether it was after nightfall and it was at nightfall, and that was nightfall. As you saw, it was very dark. In fact, you couldn't see the stars we could see, but it was pretty black up there. So we came home. Mark was cold, so we had a fire. He lit the fire. I think he lit it before we went. So we had a fire yesterday evening. And of course, we had hornets coming down again. And we are not leaving it in overnight. We're letting it burn out. So it's just one burning of a few logs, and then we leave it because it radiates. That wood burner radiates a lot of heat. We've got curtains closed at the big entrance into the hall. And actually, when I came in here this morning, it wasn't that warm. So I think we'll have another fire tonight. We're going to be fetching wood in today, because I need him, mainly him. We need to get the wood in and pile up the wood beside the fire and in the trolley so that I've got enough wood for when he's in hospital. I'm not going to need any more than we're using at the moment though, because the temperatures are still going to stay reasonably mild, but also for when he comes out, so I don't put myself in the same position as I did last year when I thought, I think it was a week after he'd been home and we'd been to urgence because I thought that was looking, his knee was looking as like it was becoming infected. It was looking quite hot and red. And we went to urgence and we came back and they told that he needed to rest it and, whatever. And I think he was in bed. It was Monday morning because we went to urgence on Sunday. It was Monday morning and I thought, I'll go and get the wood in. And I went out to the wood out the front because that's what we were using, because we've got this chestnut tree that we're still burning, that our wood stacked out the back. I went out to fill up the trolley and decided I'd film it. So I went back in at speed, not speed, but just my normal walking speed, and went flying over the stopper that had been put in at all the doors where the new shutters were. There's like a thing that's stuck up in all the doorways, and just they weren't there before and hadn't been there, and I've been here 18 years, and so for 17 years they hadn't been there, and I just flew over this, flew. I'd got scissors in my hand and I sprawled across the floor because I was using the door in his, we call it the bunker, so it's a carpeted, very thin, horrible carpet that we're hoping to have taken up next year, sprawled across, so fell heavily with scissors in my hand. And they flew out of my hand. I can't tell you, the things that went through my head were, thank fuck, they went flying. Um, and what I did was I waited. You have to wait because you're just completely winded and it's like you're stunned and you can't move. And then I rolled slightly and got myself up. And I've discovered that the only way that happened to me once, a couple of times in the garden, if I've fallen over during the last sort of like 6 or 7 years, is that I have to really get up quickly before I think about it, and that really works. Don't ask me how, because I think if I laid there thinking about it and thinking, oh, but this hurts and that hurts and I can't move that, I probably wouldn't get up. But I sort of just get up. So that was horrible, and I gave myself a really deep friction burn on my elbow. I hadn't realised at the time how bad that was, but it took months for me to be able to lean on and use and not have that, that elbow to be completely healed. Months. So the idea is that we bring enough wood in so that I don't have to go out and do anything heroic, although it's not very heroic. And I have made decisions about how I will do things and that I will pay more attention and take more care. And I worry about that. I worry that by not just being myself and just not getting on with it, that by taking more care, I make myself feel vulnerable. Is it counterproductive? I don't know. Anyway, that's the job for today, it's Friday, is to stock up with wood for the next week or two. And it's quite easy for me to go out. Well, it isn't actually. Now we've got tarpaulins out there, the way they're hooked up, it'll be a bit difficult for me to get to the wood, but I will. Yeah, it won't. Yeah, I'll just be careful. I walked out on the patio the other day and I'd put my boots on because it was so wet. It'd been, we'd got that ex-Hurricane Kurt coming through, so there was lots of rain. It was very wet. And we were going down to put the chickens away, and I put my boots on, thinking, I need to keep my feet drier than in Crocs. But actually, I said to Mark, as I walked across the patio, I went, these are more slippery on this patio than my Crocs. My Crocs are good, but the boots felt a bit slippery. I mean, it's a terrible patio because those tiles are not external tiles. I'm sure they're not. But they've been there all the time. We've been here. I don't know how long before that they were put down, but we can't afford to rip all that up and replace it, so it stays. But my Crocs are actually not sliding on there. I walk carefully, but so there's that. And I'm doing butternut squash risotto today. I get Mark to cut. I might be able to. It's not a big butternut squash. Get Mark to cut it open and scoop out the seeds, and then I'll roast it and then put it in the risotto at the last minute. So you get nice chunks of butternut squash with the flavours been intensified by roasting. So that's the plan for today. And I think that's it really. It's going to be another long day waiting. So is tomorrow. So is Sunday till 4:00. I think this has been such an empty week. I mean, some weeks we do quite a bit. The only consistent thing during the week is art. And we decided last week that we're not going to go to art. We decided last week we won't go and encounter people. And I don't know how I managed it, but there wasn't anything on the agenda anyway, apart from art. So moving art out means that there's nothing happening. And I think we're feeling a bit... not lonely, but there's sort of not enough stimulation. Even though sometimes it's too much. This is not enough. But we sort of talked about it last night. I said maybe we should go somewhere tomorrow, but I don't know where we should go, where we won't encounter. Well, there's lots of places we could go where we won't encounter people. In terms of up close and personal encounter. You know what I mean, in a shop or in a restaurant or whatever. But if we were outside, maybe we'll go for a walk in San Savan or something, just to get out for an hour today. I don't know what the weather forecast is for today. It's bright out there now. Let's have a look and see what the weather's going to do. I just watched Obama in Philadelphia, I think. I think he was in Philadelphia. Oh, he's so good. He is so good. I miss him. 16 it's going to be. That's not very warm, is it? And cloudy, and might be quite nice with the sun out later if the clouds part. Yeah, watched Obama. And what did he say? There was something that he said about, oh, I can't remember now. There's a couple of things that he said that were really pertinent. But it was, it was something like, when did it become a thing to, I'm going to use this word, hit on vulnerable people? The whole Trump thing about scaring people that are already struggling with storms coming in or a storm that's hit, telling them that they're not getting this and they won't get that, and just really making it worse for them than better. When did that become a thing? There was something else that he said that was quite pertinent. But anyway, it was really nice watching him. He is so inspiring, and it's too close. It's too close at the moment. I was watching something else. I think it was Scaramucci and Catty Kay. And they're sort of saying that the momentum from when Kamala first started running, there was this huge upswing, upswing of support and whatever, and that started to plateau a bit, and it's still not far enough. They're still not far enough in the polls for it to be a certain thing. So they really, really have got to keep pushing, and not assume everything's going to be okay. It sounds like the Kamala campaign know that, and they are being quite pessimistic, which means they will keep pushing. They're not being over optimistic about the chances for them. So fingers crossed. If I could cross my fingers, I can't. No, I can't now. If I could cross my fingers, I'd do that. I can't pray because I don't believe in God. Anyway, I can hear Mark up now. So I'm going to go and let the chickens out and let them get on with it and see what happens for the rest of the day. So I got a bit distracted then. I got a message through. Okay, see you next time. Bye.